Today we are driving the 2021 GMC Yukon XL Denali, but as always, let me give you a brief tour of the car before we get it out on the road. As far as the key fob goes, you will find nothing more than your typical GMC design. You can, however, remote start the vehicle from the fob itself. The exterior of the Yukon XL Denali is very stylish and is sure to stand out. You get fully LED headlights that look very premium with fog lights at the bottom and some fake ventilation. There is also a large chrome grille on this Denali model that is sure to show everybody that you spent some big money on your car. Moving around to the side, you will find these optional 22-inch alloy wheels. These look amazing against the side of the car and would definitely be my wheel of choice. Around those are body-colored wheel arches with marker whites, and there's GMC branding on the fender. Additionally, you will find Denali branding on the door, fixed running boards at the bottom, as well as a chrome molding. There is also some chrome accenting the door handles, which looks very nice. Stepping back to look at the side profile, you can see how large this vehicle is. It measures in at 225 inches long, which is a full 15 inches longer than a regular Yukon. The wheel and tire setup in the back is the exact same as the front, and you will find some chrome trim surrounding the windows as well. You can also see how long the rear window is, which is how you can distinguish a Yukon XL from a regular Yukon. The rear end design is very elegant and clean. You will find fully LED taillights on all Yukon models, and the new Yukon will have animations built in as well. At the bottom, you will find quad exhaust and a little cover for your tow hitch. The maximum towing capacity on this car is 8,200 pounds. Additionally, there is some chrome trim with GMC branding. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trunk. On this Yukon XL, you will find significantly more space than a regular Yukon. Behind the third row, you will find 41.5 cubic feet of space. That is an insane amount, but unfortunately, it is not class-leading. There is a good amount of storage space underneath the floor, which is very nice for some organization, and other features include a power outlet and power folding third and second row seats. The seats fold down very quickly, but you will have to hold down the buttons as they fold down. The second row also power folds down, but you cannot fold them back up from the trunk. When you fold down the third row, you will find 98 cubic feet of space, which is more than the maximum of all mid-sized SUVs. As maximum, you will find 145 cubic feet of space. That is an insane amount, and most of those numbers are class-leading. This Yukon XL should definitely give you ample space for all the things you need to bring along for your family. The Chevrolet Suburban also has the same exact dimensions. To close the trunk, just push this button. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rear seats next, because that is also very important on a large family SUV like this Yukon XL. There's smart entry for the rear and front doors, and taking a look at the door panel, you will find wood trim and leather all throughout. There is plenty of storage space at the bottom of the door panel, as well as two separate levels for better organization. There's Denali branding on the door sills, and taking a look at the third row, you can see that the access is very simple. Just pull on this lever twice and that will fold the seat out of the way. Just keep in mind you cannot have a car seat installed while doing this. In the third row of the Yukon XL, there is plenty of legroom and headroom. Even if the seats are slid all the way back, I still think that 3 full-size adults would be very comfortable in the third row of the Yukon XL. For amenities, you will find some storage space, a cup holder on both sides, and a plastic armrest. Additionally, there is a USB-C port, but you cannot recline the seats. The middle seat is surprisingly comfortable as well, and you can stretch out your legs with the captain's chair setup. These seats are also super comfortable, and they are very high quality feeling. To get out of the third row, you're just going to push on this button twice. You can also use the little tab and pull that twice if the button is not working. Let's go ahead and check out the second row next. There is plenty of space to get in and out of the third row, but there is a little bit of resistance through the lever, so it might be a little bit harder for little kids. The second row has plenty of legroom and headroom. This is with the seats slid all the way forward, and this is with it slid all the way back. You can see that it is very easy to slide the seats back and forth just by pulling this lever. For amenities, you will find a seat back pocket, and the back of the seat is going to be finished in leather. This car also has the rear seat media system, which is an extra option. With this model, you can set navigation destinations to the front passengers in case you are being chauffeured, and on the newer models, you have YouTube and Hulu built in. There are also HDMI ports in case you want to play video games or watch your own videos. You will also find 2 cup holders, a third zone of climate control, heated seat controls, USB-C ports, HDMI ports, and a household-style outlets. Overall, the rear seats of the Yukon are very nice. There's plenty of space and plenty of amenities, but let's go ahead and check out the front row next. Getting in and out of this car is relatively simple because of the power running boards and the assist grip. There's also a very solid thump to the doors when you close them. On the front door panels, you will find leather and wood trim on the upper part. There's also plenty of storage space at the bottom as you saw in the rear doors. There's Denali branding on the door sills, and the seats are going to be made of the same full grain leather. You get cross-stitching, piping, Denali branding, as well as heating, ventilation, and 12 ways of power adjustment. These seats feel very high quality and they are quite comfortable. Let's go ahead and start up this car. The steering wheel is very nice leather wrapped and heated. There is some aluminum accenting for a higher quality look and Denali branding instead of GMC. With this 2021 model, you do not get a fully digital gauge cluster, but this model still has plenty of customization. If you want the fully digital design, you will have to swing for a Yukon that is from the 2022 to 2026 model years. One interesting thing about the Denali is that some things are rearranged, like the hazard light button. The shifter is located right here, and I think the placement is beautiful. Pull for drive and reverse, you can use these buttons to shift manually, and push for neutral and park. When you go into reverse, that will bring up a very high resolution backup camera with a 360 view. There are multiple different angles as well and active trajectory, and I see time and time again GM has the most high resolution cameras. The parking sensors also work relatively well. That is important for maneuvering a full-size SUV like this vehicle. This 2021 model year is running a little bit older of a software from GM, but it still has some good functionality like built-in navigation, a Wi-Fi hotspot, as well as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The graphics are a little bit dated, but it still gets the job done. All of the climate controls are going to be physical and located down here. There's dual zone up front and one zone in the rear on all Yukon models. You can use these knobs to adjust the climate control, and they feel relatively high quality. While these are easy to use, this area does look a little bit busy, which is something the new 2026 Yukon solves. This car also has heated and ventilated seats like I mentioned earlier, and you can heat only the back part or the back and bottom part of the heated seats. As far as storage goes, you can push back this piece of wood trim for a wireless phone charging pad, 2 USB ports and 12-volt outlets. There's also a cubby on both sides, 2 cup holders, and a large center console. This car also has a sliding center console, which is going to give you a large open area to store something like a purse. We'll get back to that in a second. You can use these buttons up here to control the panoramic sunroof, and you can also control the third row seats. This is convenient so that in case somebody is coming into the third row, you don't have to go all the way around to the trunk to put it up for them. The power sliding center console is controlled with these buttons up here, and there's a large open area for something like a purse or a grocery bag, and there's also a little tray for some secret storage for snacks only for yourself. The armrest portion does slide forward as well, and it does also give the rear passengers easier access to the climate controls and the cup holders. But I want to see how this Yukon XL is on the road, so let's go ahead and wrap up this brief tour and take it for a spin. We are driving the 2021 GMC Yukon XL Denali. As always, let me start with the specs. Under the hood is a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. That makes 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. That is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and this car achieves 14 mpg in the city, 19 on the highway, and 16 combined. Those power figures are not very impressive, they're actually pretty average for the segments, but the important thing is that this is the last vehicle in the segment to have a V8. This car has the refinements and the sound that a lot of people want from their engines, and I think that is a big selling point of the Suburban and Yukon XL. While the new Wagoneer and Expedition offer plenty of power from their turbocharged 6-cylinders, it just doesn't feel right to have a large 6,000-pound SUV being powered by a 6-cylinder. There are also other options for powertrains on the Yukon XL, including a 5.3-liter V8 and a turbocharged diesel engine. I personally would not get the diesel powertrain, but it can get in the mid-20s for MPGs, which is quite impressive. As far as around town driving goes, the Yukon XL is a very pleasant vehicle to drive. Even though this car does not have the optional air suspension, the ride quality is still very impressive. You don't get the adaptive dampers and the magnetic air ride suspension like you get as standard equipment in the Cadillac Escalade, but it is still an option and available on the Denali Ultimate model. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this car is very large. It is 225 inches long and 81 inches wide. That is a lot bigger than the average vehicle, and it feels like it. If you are not used to driving a vehicle that is this big, it will take some getting used to, but I think the sacrifice is worth it for all the space. You need to be extra careful in tight spaces and in parking lots. It is easier to park because of the high-resolution cameras, and some models, if you equip the Super Cruise, it can park itself, but that is just one thing to keep in mind. I was just in the new Wagoneer L, and that car was 84 inches wide and 227 inches long. Both dimensions are larger than this Yukon XL, but somehow it felt a little bit smaller. Hopefully for the next generation of Yukons and Suburbans, they can make it feel a little bit smaller. Let's go ahead and do an acceleration test and test the power of this naturally aspirated V8. Wow, that V8 sounds good, especially when you rev it all the way out. There is no shortage of power in this Yukon XL Denali, although some competitors like the Expedition Max and Wagoneer L will offer some more power. I will say, however, that it can feel a little bit laggy when you are in the lower revs, so if you are not in sport mode, you might have to rev it out a little bit more than you think. But now that we are on the highway, let's talk about some of the highway driving dynamics of this Yukon XL. Like I was saying in the city driving portion, this car is very comfortable to drive. The ride quality is amazing, and overall I would say it is a very comfortable cruiser and it would be great for long commutes or long road trips. Pair that with Super Cruise and the insane amount of space and features that this car has, and this car is basically the perfect road trip vehicle. Now, a few of you may be wondering what Super Cruise is. It is GM's hands-free driving system where you can take your hands off the wheel and basically relax. You have to keep your eyes looking at the road because Super Cruise will not work if you are not doing so, but it takes a lot of the fatigue out of driving on the highway. It will also automatically change lanes and pass slower traffic if it is safe to do so, and you can also prompt it to do that just by turning on the turn signal. Super Cruise is amazing and probably one of the best hands-free driving systems you can get out there. It is available as an option on the 2021 to 2026 model years. Overall, on the highway, the Yukon is a great vehicle to drive. It is very comfortable, but there is a good amount of wind noise entering the cabin, but there really isn't that much GMC can do because of this car's shape. Let's go ahead and exit the highway and talk about some other driving dynamics. The brakes feel pretty good, although they aren't as strong as I would like. For this car being 6,000 pounds, I want some stronger brakes just to give me some extra confidence. So the Yukon XL kind of sits between the Suburban and the Escalade ESV. It is a little bit more expensive than the Suburban with the starting price, but a lot less expensive than the Escalade ESV. It is quite luxurious and spacious and has plenty of technology, although not quite as advanced as the Escalade. So this car is kind of for people that want to fly more under the radar but want to have a very luxurious SUV. But getting back to the driving dynamics, this car has a 10-speed automatic transmission on all models. It is kind of slow to respond at times, but sport mode is going to fix that right up. Thankfully, it doesn't get confused between gears because I know that is a common problem with vehicles that have a lot of gears to choose from. It knows exactly what gear to get you in right away, it just doesn't do so very eagerly. We took that corner pretty fast back there, and you probably couldn't tell, but the body roll is pretty significant. This car is 6,000 pounds and very long, and I did not expect the handling to be good, but just keep that in mind that you won't have the most secure feeling while taking corners. Just be careful and do not take the corners very fast because that will probably scare your passengers. This is also the same on the Cadillac Escalade V. Even though it is a more performance-oriented version of the Cadillac Escalade, the handling still isn't going to be very good. But that is just about everything we need to talk about in this 2021 GMC Yukon XL Denali. As we are wrapping up this video, I want to say that the Yukon XL is probably one of the best family vehicles you can buy. That goes for all extended full-size SUVs. If you have a large family of 4, 5, or even 6, this is definitely the car to get, or anything in this segment. This car and its competitors are all amazing choices for large families with the space and the features that they offer. So in conclusion, the Yukon XL Denali is an amazing choice in 2025. It offers plenty of space, as I have probably said about 100 times, and a very luxurious interior. The exterior is very elegant and it would definitely make a great family car. The driving experience is also very impressive, with this car offering plenty of power and a very comfortable ride quality. Just be careful around town because this car is very long and it feels like it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.